Good evening, children. So today we are going to further discuss the phenomena of adsorption under the lesson surface chemistry, which we have started in our previous class. We have already discussed with certain terminologies such as adsorption, absorption, adsorbate, adsorbent, sorption, desorption, mechanism of adsorption and the thermodynamics of adsorption. Now today in this class we are going to see types of adsorption. So basically there are two types. One is known as physisorption and the other is chemisorption. So children, as the name suggests, physisorption and chemisorption. Physisorption is also known as physical adsorption and chemisorption is also known as chemical adsorption. Physisorption, if we are saying that it is physical adsorption, means then it is very clear that the bond between the adsorbent and adsorbate, this is adsorbent, as we discussed in the previous class, and the molecules which are coming and accumulating on the surface, they are known as adsorbate. So if there are van der Waals force of attraction taking place between the adsorbate and adsorbent, then we will call it as physisorption. And if these bonds which are taking place between these two substances or these two phases are chemical bonds. Chemical bonds means it can be ionic bond, it can be covalent bond, coordinate covalent bond. So then we will call it as chemisorption. So this is the basic difference between physisorption and chemisorption. Okay. Now let us see some features of physisorption and then we will compare it simultaneously with chemisorption. So physisorption lacks specificity. It lacks specificity means the adsorbent surface can accumulate any kind of adsorbate molecules. It is not at all compulsory for the adsorbent surface to take only a particular type of molecule. So in physical adsorption, any type of molecule can come and accumulate on the adsorbent surface. For example, powdered charcoal or activated charcoal, it can adsorb N2 gas, it can adsorb H2 gas, O2 gas or CO2 gas, any kind of gas which will come in contact of its surface. So it is non-specific. Physisorption lacks specificity. Whereas chemisorption, it is very highly specific in nature. Highly specific in nature means we'll see further in the catalysis part of the chapter that a particular type of catalyst is needed for a particular type of reaction. Like for example in Haber's process, iron acts as a catalyst. And then if you see hydrogenation of vegetable oil, then nickel or palladium or platinum can act as a catalyst. So for different reactions, then SO2 gas conversion into SO3, platinum acts as a catalyst. So their chemical bonds are formed and that is why a particular specific adsorbent is needed for a particular type of adsorbate. So they are highly specific in nature. Second is nature of adsorbate. So physisorption mainly depends on the nature of the adsorbate. A gas which is having a higher critical temperature will adsorb more. Listen carefully. A gas which is having higher critical temperature will adsorb more on the adsorbent surface. Now what is critical temperature? We have seen in states of matter, the gaseous state we have seen. If you remember Andrews experiment, the graph showing the liquefaction of CO2 gas. We had seen in that CO2 gas at the highest temperature at which it can liquefy is 50.96 degrees Celsius. So that is the critical temperature of CO2 gas. Means it is the highest temperature wherein the gas can be converted into the liquid. So that is the critical temperature of the gas. So physical adsorption will take place for more easily for a gas which is having high critical temperature, or in other words we can say which is easily liquefiable. So if we compare SO2, NH3, methane and H2 gas, SO2 gas will be most liquefiable, or it will have the highest critical temperature, and so it will undergo more easily adsorption on the surface. So this is a very important point, has been asked in the board exam some of the other time. So you have to remember that more critical temperature, more easy is the adsorption. So nature of adsorbate. Then next is the effect of pressure. So physical adsorption will increase with the increase in pressure. Now why does it increase? So we have seen Le Chatelier's principle. Now in the case of adsorption, before adsorption takes place, solid is separate, gas molecules are separate. After adsorption takes place, the gas comes and accumulates on the surface of solid, so it becomes a single phase, that is the solid phase. So now the gas has adsorbed on the solid. So according to Le Chatelier's principle, if we are increasing the pressure will increase on that part of the equilibrium or the reaction where there are more number of moles of the gas. So if you see this equilibrium, then here gas is more. So here pressure will increase, and then the equilibrium will shift to the other direction so as to counteract this effect. Means if we are increasing the pressure will increase on the left hand side. To balance this, equilibrium will shift on in the forward direction. It means that more adsorption will take place. Means if pressure is increasing, the amount of adsorption will increase. Physisorption will increase with the increase in the pressure. The next is effect of temperature. So effect of temperature, we know that adsorption is an exothermic process. Exothermic process means heat is released. Why is heat released? Because when the adsorbate molecules they come and accumulate on the surface, some type of force of attraction is generated between the adsorbate and the adsorbent, and that is why energy will be released, and so it is an exothermic process. If the process is exothermic, means we write plus heat on the product side. Now if such a process we are giving more heat, means we are increasing the temperature, then according to Le Chatelier's principle, in order to counteract this effect, the equilibrium will move in the backward direction. Now if equilibrium will shift in the backward direction, means desorption will take place, or we can say the amount of adsorption will decrease. So temperature increases, adsorption or physisorption will decrease. Pressure is increasing, amount of adsorption will increase. So this is the effect of temperature on physisorption. The next is surface area. So more is the surface area, but naturally it is a surface phenomena. Adsorption is a surface phenomena. So more is the surface area, more amount of adsorption will take place, or more amount of adsorbate will be accumulating on the surface of the adsorbent. Then the next is enthalpy change. The next is enthalpy change. So enthalpy change means how much amount of energy will be released, or change in the energy. So here bonds formed are weak, van der Waals force of attraction, and so there will not be much change in the energy. There will be heat energy released, but the change in the enthalpy will be less. And then the last one is it is reversible in nature. Physisorption is reversible in nature. Means adsorption, desorption can take place a number of times and it can be reversed. Let us see the points of chemisorption. First point already we have seen, it is highly specific in nature. It will also depend on the nature of the adsorbent, adsorbate. Then effect of pressure, the same thing here also. The pressure increases, the amount extent of chemisorption will also increase. Effect of temperature, this is important. In physisorption we saw as the temperature increases, physisorption decreases. But in chemisorption, as the temperature will increase, initially chemisorption will increase. Why? Because for a chemical reaction to take place, some activation energy is needed. So initial rise of temperature will provide that activation energy for the reaction to happen, and so that is the reason chemisorption will increase with the initial rise in the temperature. But again, as further temperature will rise, chemisorption will also decrease. One more important thing, a reaction or an adsorption rather will be maybe physisorption in the beginning, but it may result into formation of chemical bonds, and it may change into chemisorption after some time, or after it starts with the amount of energy which is supplied to it. So physisorption may get converted into chemisorption. So you cannot label a change that it will be only physisorption or it will be only chemisorption. Sometimes physisorption becomes chemisorption as we proceed further. So what is the effect of temperature on chemisorption? That initially the rise in temperature will help chemical bonds to form, because the activation energy will be provided to more number of molecules. So chemisorption will increase initially, but with the time, as the time will proceed or as the temperature further increases, then chemisorption will also decrease. Surface area, same thing here also, chemisorption will increase with the increase in the surface area. Enthalpy change here it is less. In chemisorption the enthalpy change will be more. Physisorption is a reversible process. On the other hand, chemisorption will be an irreversible process, as here chemical bonds are formed. So these are the points of difference and the characteristics of physisorption and chemisorption which we have seen now. Now let us move on to Freundlich's adsorption isotherm. So isotherm means a graph which is plotted at constant temperature. Any graph if you are plotting at a constant temperature, we will call it as an isotherm. So Freundlich is the name of a scientist who has given adsorption isotherm, and he states that the extent of adsorption or the extent of amount of adsorbate which adsorbs on a unit mass of the adsorbent is directly proportional to pressure. Let us understand this statement. Suppose this is an adsorbent, a solid surface. Here we are speaking about a solid surface. It is an adsorbent, and this is adsorbate. Let the mass of adsorbent be m and the mass of adsorbate is x. So Freundlich says that the amount of adsorbate or extent of adsorption of the adsorbate on a unit mass of adsorbent is directly proportional to the pressure. So if we draw a graph of the amount of adsorbate or the amount or extent of adsorption against pressure at a particular temperature, we'll call it as an isotherm. So the nature of the graph will be somewhere like this. So what does he say? That the extent of adsorption is directly proportional to the pressure. Now there are three different areas of this graph. One is maybe till here. You can see that this part, that is initially for lower levels of pressure, then you can see it is just like a straight line. It is a straight line graph passing through the origin. If we take only this much part of the graph, then it appears to be a straight line graph passing through the origin. So now if I put here some constant, let it be k, then this expression becomes of the order y is equal to mx, and y is equal to mx is a graph of a straight line passing through the origin. So this part, that is initially for lower pressures, when the pressure value is quite low, then it appears to be a straight line graph. Then we can see from somewhere here, the graph is becoming parallel to the x-axis. Parallel to the x-axis, that is the pressure axis. Means even if I am going on increasing the pressure after this point, then there is no increase in the value of x by m. Means this is becoming parallel. So we will call it as saturation pressure. Means after this, there is no further adsorption which is taking place. Means what might be happening, children? This surface is totally occupied. Now there is no vacant surface left for more amount of adsorbate molecules to come and accumulate over here. So that is why this graph is becoming parallel. Means here what must be happening? Equilibrium is established. Means whatever number of molecules are coming and getting adsorbed is the same as good as the number of molecules leaving the surface and going away. So equilibrium has been established here at the saturation point or at the saturation pressure. And then this is the intermediate part. Okay, so here what will happen? X upon m will become constant. Means it is becoming independent of the pressure. So we can say that the expression can become x upon m is equal to k p raised to power 0. 0 means it is becoming independent of the pressure. Means x upon m will become equal to constant. And here it is directly proportional, so we can say the power of p is 1. So what we can say is the power of p is in between 0 and 1. No, the power of p, let it be 1 by n. So 1 by n value is between 0 and 1. So what we can say is n is an integer which is between 1 to infinity. The value of n is in between 1 to infinity. If the value of n is equal to 1, then we get the power of p as 1. If the value of n is equal to infinity, then we will get the value of 0. Why? Because 1 upon n, that is 1 by infinity, will become 0. So Freundlich's adsorption isotherm can be represented in general as a mathematical expression k into p raised to 1 by n, where k and n are constant and the values will depend on the nature of the adsorbate and the nature of the adsorbent. And then what is the value of n? The value of n, it is an integer and its value will be between 1 and infinity. So at lower pressures it is directly proportional, and at very high pressure, that is when saturation is obtained, that then the extent of adsorption will become independent of the pressure. No more pressure increase will cause any change in the extent of adsorption taking place. Okay, now if we take log on both the sides of this expression, so if we take log, then it becomes log x upon m is equal to log k plus 1 by n log p. Now we can compare this expression with y is equal to, here there are two terms, so it will be mx plus c. Y is equal to mx plus c is a straight line graph, and which will have an intercept on the y-axis. So log x upon m will be on the y-axis and x is log p, and then log k is the intercept on the y-axis, and 1 by n is the slope of this graph. So slope will be equal to 1 by n. So this is a straight line graph, this expression. Okay, so this is the Freundlich's adsorption isotherm mathematical expression relating the extent of adsorption with the pressure. and we have seen our three different values of pressure: at very low pressure, intermediate pressure and high pressure, how this equation changes. So this is the general form. If it is low pressure, so this will become 1, so x upon m is equal to k into p. And if it is very high pressure, then n is infinity, means p power is 0, and so x upon m is equal to k, means it will become independent of pressure. Means Freundlich adsorption isotherm at very high pressure, as there is no change in the extent of adsorption further, so it fails for very high pressure. It can't explain the behavior of adsorption, how it is happening at very high pressures. Then there is in the solution phase how adsorption takes place, that we will see in the next class.